mother called Amazing Amy. Basically, Nick claims that, they plagiarized her childhood, but actually she says no, they improved upon that. Everything that she fell short of, Amy comes out on top. Of course, it's interesting that the character's name again is Nick. Also, Amy pretends to be from New Orleans, Louisiana, after she, quote unquote, goes missing. Then, of course, there was the correlations with Amy having issues with her parents and then being narcissistic. But most importantly, the fact that the crime scene doesn't add up. And that is what we were really showing in those two clips, was how methodically she researched and planned this out, as well as setting the crime scene up to just have so many issues. Because what really started us down this kind of rabbit hole, if you will, is the fact that Gypsy Blanchard said that there was a vial of DNA,
yes,
blood that was in the freezer or refrigerator. Why? We have no idea.
Correct.
And then in the police reports, they say that there is blood sprinkled throughout the house in odd areas and odd places, and it was much more than you would typically find by like a DNA residue, like DNA, whatever
right.
is left behind.
Right.
So
right.
It really looks as if she has gone around the home and sprinkled her blood. And then we have the third face, which does not gain
right.
the attraction or the attention that it should have. The first one, she says, that Dee Dee is dead. And then she comments underneath it and talks about the graping of Gypsy.
So hold on.
She goes
hold on. You're going into too many different things at one time. People are talking, and I'd like to address different things before we just keep going. Okay, so a lot of people have never heard about the vial of blood. Okay, so I that's something that I want to stop and talk about. I also wanted to talk about that Dawn Brown, Christy's closest confidant through the entire thing of this, the 9 whole years, who just came out and said the other day, there's secrets, and they're having a breakup here. She confirmed that there was evidence that I had not seen, supposedly, that there was blood all over that crime scene that belonged to Gypsy that shouldn't have been there, everywhere. So I started thinking again about a conversation I had with Christy, and I have to go back and find it. I know that we texted about it. I know that the group knows about it. Like a lot of my partners and team have known about it, us having this conversation, because it was so weird. We couldn't figure out what it would be. She said DNA was her original thing that she said was DNA, a vial of DNA. And I thought, is that like a swab of like her mouth? What does DNA mean? And so then it came back to, a vial of blood. Oh, okay. I'm like, that's really weird. Like, why would she have that in the freezer? Okay. And that got me thinking about what Dawn said, what the police report is saying. And I wonder, because like we said, the crime scene is wrong. It's wrong. So that's about all the thing about the vial of blood. And Christy, that was like something I didn't think she would lie about, because it's just too weird, Sarah?
Right. And then, the thing with the third Facebook post that immediately came down, that has not really garnered any attention, or people don't even know about it, was the post that was made saying, and the girl is unalive too.
I want to pull you keep talking. I'm going to try and pull the the actual report where it says that again, because I want everybody to know where it is. So you keep talking.
Nancy told me about, first of all, I had already read in the evidence reports and things about there being, blood where there shouldn't have been, amounts that shouldn't have been left behind just by living in that residence that went above and beyond just regular residence DNA residue. And she mentioned to me about Christy saying, they're bringing this vial of blood in the refrigerator. I immediately said to her, like, oh my God, she pulled a gun. And she was like, what? I was like, Gone Girl. Like, she was faking, she was going to her own death and frame it for it.
Yeah.
And I believe she was doing that so that she could then, in turn, set Nick up and get him out of the way. And then she would go back to her new car and think new house without mom there, and she could be with Dan. Because if you watched any of the interrogation, I mean, you can clearly see that, she is throwing under the bus in that. And she fully believes 100% that she is going to walk out of there and go home.
And there's a very big reason why that's important. Okay. But look, I found the piece of paper. Okay. So this is why we believe that the plan, I do believe this 100%, my opinion, allegedly. Hi, Cindy. Good morning from Australia. Thank you. Okay. She thought she was going to go home. Absolutely. 100%. But okay. So the kidnapping theory,
and knew that there was no charge
right.
accessory.
And this, they talk about the death penalty. So you know what? She wanted to look it up and make sure she knew exactly what she wanted to do. Okay. But here, this is where we really believe this. Okay. So this is a supplemental report from the case file that if you filed for a discovery under a FOIA, okay, Freedom of Information Act, which last night somebody asked me why one of their FOIAs was not granted, and we talked about how I'm able to do the FOIAs and get these, and I'm pretty good at it, and I learned from a website, that tells you how to do one for every single state. It's not hard. Sometimes they cost money, sometimes they don't. In this case, I did not have to pay for it, thankfully. In some of the other ones, like the ones out in California, they're quite expensive. So, anyway, this supplemental report is from the Greene County Sheriff's Office. The incident report is there, and this is Kay Hughes. Interestingly enough, Kay Hughes, guys, there's a story there. Kay Hughes is the jailer, the jail guard that we interviewed exclusively on our YouTube channel. Used to be over here on TikTok, but you know what happened over here on TikTok. So, but she not only was a first responder, she was training, she was going through training to transition from being a prison or being a jail guard to a detective or to being on the force. I don't know if it's first responder or being a detective, whatever the heck. Anyway, the guy who's in charge of them is who had the interaction with David Blanchard, the one who climbed through the window, supposedly climbed through a window, my ass. Come on now. Look at those crime scene photos and tell me that man fucking climbed through that window. And he changed his story how many times, Sarah?
Wasn't it
3?
David Blanchard changed his story, 3 times already that I know of?
Yes, 3 times. Okay. So Officer Hughes, where I'm reading this from, okay, this is who this is. So if you have not seen our interview with Officer Hughes, please go to YouTube It's up in its entirety. It's a really interesting interview, and it's her perspective from being both the first responder and the jail guard, because when her training officer got in trouble for allowing David to go into the house, okay, and so she ended up she didn't make it through the training session, and she ended up back at the jail, which I was like, oh my God, it's so terrible. You've lost your job because she goes, no, you know what? It's okay. Because that's how I met my husband. And I'm thankful for what I do now. And And we had a very great conversation, and she was very intuitive of who Gypsy was and how she behaves. And she got in a lot of trouble. In fact, she tried to get that woman in trouble. But let's get back to this here. She tried to get this officer right here in trouble with her jailer, the actual warden or whatever the heck they call the jail guard. I don't know. The head of the jail. Anyway, here we go. This is a supplemental report by Kay Hughes, and it says supplemental. At this point in time, it's still said as missing persons. Okay. Missing persons. That's very interesting, right?
And, and this goes right along with what Gypsy did, which I'm not sure if people are aware of, but you can find it under the Greene County reports, is the first thing that Gypsy did. And when I'm talking about the very first thing, I'm talking about the first week that she was in the county jail. She immediately began snitching on everyone.
Yes, routing. Honey, no. Okay, so I'm going to read this whole thing. Yes, and Officer Hughes talks about that in our video. But it's a one-page report, so let me go ahead and read this real quick because it won't take very long. I'll point out the things that I highlighted here for you guys, okay? So, is it warden in a jail? I don't know. I've never stayed a night in jail, so I don't know. Anyway, okay. On 6/14/15 at 3:13 p.m., I, Officer Kay Hughes, was dispatched to a call for service at 2103 West Volunteer Way. I responded along with Deputy Robertson and my field training officer, Corporal Stewart. Neighbors of the occupants, Claudinia Blanchard, it has the E, who goes by the name of Dee Dee, and her daughter, Gypsy Blanchard, were concerned because some posts had been made on Dee Dee's Facebook page from her own account under the name D. Gyp Blanchard. We were met at the Blanchard's residence by four neighbors, David and Kimberly Blanchard, and it says no relation, Tamra Rose, and Amy Pinegar. Now, Amy is Aaliyah's mother. Okay, so when she talks about Aaliyah in the interrogation video, Amy is Aaliyah's mother, and I can't remember Tamron Rose. I can't remember who she is. I'll have to look it up again. The neighbors were concerned because both Dee Dee and Gypsy had multiple health problems. Gypsy was wheelchair bound and had a degenerative genetic disorder of some sort and some sort of cancer, according to Kimberly. She won't live to be as old as we are, Kimberly stated. The neighbors all stated that Dee Dee and Gypsy spent a lot of time at home and were friendly people, describing them both as sweet multiple times. They stated the Blanchards had moved to the Springfield area after Hurricane Katrina. They had been residents of Louisiana prior to that. None of them thought that the Blanchards had any relatives still living. We'll come back to that later. They had tried to call Dee Dee's cell phone multiple times and not gotten an answer, which they said was unusual. Tamara and Amy confirmed that it was Dee Dee's car sitting in the driveway. None of them could remember seeing either Dee Dee or Gypsy in the last few days. They stated that there had been a burglary at the location in April, and Dee Dee had been very nervous ever since. I asked if Dee Dee would open the door of the house to a stranger. Okay, this is interesting. And Amy stated that she would, and she rarely looked outside or used the peephole before opening the door. I asked her if she would describe Dee Dee as being inclined to trust people, and Amy said that Dee Dee was very trusting individual, although the robbery had railed her. Kimberly showed me the posts in question. The first one, posted on 6/14/15 at approximately 2:40 p.m., stated that B is dead. And a comment on the same post, also from Dee Dee's account, stated, I fucking slashed that fat pig and raped her sweet, innocent daughter. Her scream was so fucking loud. Laughs out loud. Apparently, half an hour after the initial post, another post was made on Dee Dee's Facebook page saying the girl is unalived too. Kimberly took screenshots of these posts and sent them to my email account upon my request. I'm going to read this last part here because it's important, but that's the part that we really wanted to talk about, that third post that's made 20 minutes later. But let me finish these last two paragraphs. David Blanchard stated that he had formerly been involved in the running of VisionCon, a local science fiction and fantasy convention. David said in 2011, Gypsy had arranged to meet a man at VisionCon, and the man had convinced her to steal money from her mother's purse and run away with him. Her mother had been able to find out what was going on and prevent anything from happening. So there you have it right there. 2011, at least 2011, everyone knew what the hell was going on. Okay, but let me read this last one. Let me give you another one to think on. Let me chew on this for a minute. Linda Young, the mother of the next door neighbor, walked over to talk to us after we'd been on scene for a while. She stated that her daughter had formally had a key to the Blanchard home, but had given it back maybe 6 months ago. Her daughter had some mental disabilities, but is high functioning and lives alone. Linda stated there was some sort of trouble at the Blanchard residence with certain people in the neighborhood that her daughter had been implicated in because she had a key, which is what prompted her to return it. Linda did not want to tell us who the certain people were, but implied that they continued to cause issues. Boy, that one page gives you a lot to think about, doesn't it?
It's something, that so many people have missed that third post.
Yes. I missed it. Sarah, I missed it because it's just this one damn line in a sea of so much information.
Now, according to the records that you have,
yes,
what was going on when that third post was made?
That was when the standoff was happening outside of the home. So somewhere between the effing, fat pig thing, right? And this, okay. She had sent those two and nothing had happened yet. So she sends the third. And Nicholas says in his interrogation video, right, Sarah, that she saw a text come in from Dan, and it was strange, right? He yes. says that, okay? Okay.
I saw Gypsy's friend Dan text her, and I saw the message. Yet we're never told about the message.
Okay. But he did say it was strange too. Or it was weird.
I did not catch that part in the clip that I sent you, but
I think he says that. I think that's what he says. I think he says, I saw the text and it was weird. But then she goes on to tell the officer, Stan, she says to Stan that my friend was texting me, my friend Dan was texting me about these crazy messages on Facebook. But the police arrived so quickly, I didn't get to see what he wrote. What a weird statement. But what was happening is her knight in shining freaking armor is out in a standoff outside with the entire police department thinking he's some psychotic psycho kidnapping dude from Wisconsin, strange boy who they've had a run-in with before. And she's hiding in a damn closet. And then mysteriously, that text disappeared.
Right, the comment, yeah, the Facebook post.
The Facebook post disappears. So my thought process on this is that, yeah, I think she was pulling a Gone Girl. I think that she was getting ready to double cross him. I told you guys the first thing I thought she was going to do. I hate when my hair is driving me crazy today. Okay, sorry. Okay. So the reason I see the comparison between Gone Girl and this is because of the planning that it took, that Gypsy put into place. And she did plan, like Sarah said, she sent the weapon across state lines, right? Yes, Ryan's lost his job over her, sort of, but not really, but yeah, sort of. You know what I mean? There's a story there, and we'll talk about that another time. But what she did, guys, the planning this took, while if you're reading her Facebook posts with Mama, she's gearing up to go to a new freaking conference, and they're raising money, and
my mom's my best friend.
My mom's my best friend. And you know what? I caught that in BuzzFeed, but the BuzzFeed article the other night about where she says, my mom would have been a perfect mom for someone who was sick, but I wasn't sick. No, sorry. My mom would have been, somebody who would have been a great mother to somebody who wasn't sick, who was sick, but I wasn't sick. Well, guess what, guys? Guess what? She was sick. She's a chromosome disorder of 1q2, 1.1. Look it up. You can tell. Rest my case. Colleen will be talking about that in our book that is coming out at the end of the month. But let's keep going, Sarah, because I really feel like the kidnapping thing, this is where it ties in. That third text, there's a reason she deleted it, because of exactly what it looks like. If you read that, not knowing anything about Gypsy Blanchard and Munchausen by proxy, if you read that text, damn, why is there such a glare?
Right, if you read the Facebook post.
Oh, because my daughter left that open. Okay, it'll be better in a minute. So if you read that Facebook post, and then she's found, and she's walking. Oh, I do think that Ken is as slippery as Gypsy. Oh, I do. Yes, I do. And his mama too, Raina. Oh, I do. Oh, whew, don't even get me started on Raina. Got a lot to say about Raina.
She was on Natasha Cooper's live.
Oh, I know. And I was in there and I was confirming for Natasha
No, you absolutely do know who the hell Natasha is. You're the one who freaking leaked her freaking mugshot first. Your roommate did it. We proved that back in 2018, 2019. So don't come in here ignorantly and act like you don't know who the hell we are. You started your shit, Raina.
She was just doubling down to say that he and Ken have received no financial compensation and they have not received a dime and they are not in this for the money.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. He doesn't benefit in any way. You're right. You're right. Fuck off. Anyway, let's keep going. This whole kidnapping idea, it's all right here in this little text right here. Abigail, are you all right? Okay. No, I'm just making sure you're okay, sweetheart. In this text right here, this Facebook post right here. Then and Megan Pack, MJ Pack, was reporting it in real time. Okay. And it was originally, this America's sweetheart goes missing. And if in her saying the cops came so quickly, just what? It just seems so weird to say that. Does anyone else, does that statement strike anyone else as weird?
Did they come too quickly for what?
To rescue her? Did they come too quickly? It's an odd statement.
There's no such thing as the police coming too quickly. They always come too late.
Thank you, Abs.
How could they be too quick?
Too quick. They came so quickly. It just, and then that text is just not there, right? I mean,
she posted and it was up just long enough for a very small amount of people to see it, and then she immediately took it down.
That's a really weird thing to say.
It is. It's a very weird thing to say. Yeah.
They came so quickly. You want them to come quickly when you're in a situation of danger. You want them to come as quick as possible.
No, I agree. I agree that's exactly what she meant, New York Crafty Girl. Maybe she meant from when she made the post to when they got to Nick's house. Yes. But the way she said it and knowing that she was inside, that post was up. It had been up. Okay. And she made it 24 minutes later. Is that what they said? Approximately half an hour later. So from 2:40 to 3:10. Yeah. I'm not great with math. 3:10.
Yeah, looking around 3:10, 3:15-ish.
Yeah. No, Dan didn't. Dan, I don't know. How could Dan take it down? It's Gypsy and he could have told her to take it down. Yes, that's what I said. Probably when they were hiding in the closet. Then he goes outside. Before she does. She's in that closet alone. And this text magically disappears. Rowdy. Oh. Okay, no, there's a Rowdy. It's okay. Can't take. Okay. I'm so sorry, guys. Oh my God. Yeah.
Basically say,
Yeah.
would she want the public to know that she was also alive?
Yeah.
You know? And so why did she believe that these little traces of blood scattered throughout the home?
Right.
And it was to make it look like that she had also been unalived. And then, and this is just in my opinion for entertainment purposes only, then she would be able to set Nick up, get rid of him, get him out of her way, and then she could go back to her house and be with Dan.
Right. Hold on. I'm trying to put. Hold on a second, guys. I'm trying to move something. Yeah. I mean, do we want to continue on talking about this specifically, or do we want to move on? I don't want to play that other clip because we're going to get cut off again. So we can talk about the Punch and Judy, but I don't want to play it again because we just
It's
can't.
a lot shorter. Will it still?
I think it'll still be a problem. Yeah, I think it'll get me shut down again over here.
Basically, what they're saying is they find the last clue as Amy is leading them.
Right. I've got this. Right. So hold on. I've got this lit chat pulled up. It's litcharts.com. And so this is the analysis of Gone Girl by Jillian. And so let me read this because it's just a couple of paragraphs, and I think then we'll talk about it because this is what I really wanted to talk about today too. You did too. So it talks about the symbolism. This is the symbolism analysis of the Punch and Judy puppets. Amy's 5-year anniversary gift to Nick is a pair of wooden puppets made to look like Punch and Judy, stock characters from puppet theater. As the novel unfolds, the puppets come to symbolize the violence and decay in Nick and Amy's marriage, as well as the nature of the relationship itself from the very beginning. The 5-year anniversary is traditionally the wood anniversary, and though as Nick has been solving Amy's labyrinth traditional treasure hunt with the expectation that he'll find an antique wooden cradle at the end, since in the wake of Amy's disappearance, evidence has emerged to suggest that she was or is pregnant. The present Amy has selected for him is far more sinister. The Punch and Judy show is a notoriously violent puppet routine passed down through oral tradition. In one popular iteration of the action, Punch unalives Judy and her baby. The Punch and Judy puppets Amy selects for Nick's gift are antique and grotesque. The Judy puppet has a tiny baby puppet attached to her belly on a string and is suspiciously missing the large wooden handle which animates the puppet. As Nick and Go inspect the puppets together after finding them in Go's woodshed, along with a mountain of expensive and ridiculous purchases Amy has been making on credit cards in Nick's name, she wonders whether Judy's lack of a handle is symbolic of Judy's femaleness. She suggests that Amy has left the present to show Nick that he is nothing more than a puppet on a string. Amy is behind the scenes manipulating everything from afar while Nick helplessly watches the evidence of his murder or unaliving of his wife mount around him. Nick and Amy have been acting according to scripts, playing roles they believe the other will like. Amy has been masquerading as a hip, laid-back, cool girl, while Nick has tried to smother his average Midwestern roots and his family history of violence and misogyny. Nick and Amy have turned themselves and one another into puppets. And the gift of Punch and Judy shows that Amy is ready at last to reckon with the full measure of what she and Nick have done to one another over the years and make him pay for the ways in which she altered the course of her life and her beginning. Why is that doing that? Okay. There, am I okay? Can everybody still see me?
Yeah, you're great.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, the symbolism. Oh, yeah, I agree. Her nose does look like shit. I don't think she had a nose job. I don't know. Doesn't look to me like she got anything done, Sarah. I don't know. But we have to wait 6 to 8 weeks because, swelling. But, I mean, if she paid that much for a nose job, dude, you got a raw deal, dude.
There was absolutely zero bruising, which
Right. That's so interesting, isn't it?
but come on now. Especially since she claims that she had 2 procedures done, a septoplasty and a rhinoplasty.
Right.
I have known people that have had both done, and I mean, they look like they've been in a prize fight. I mean, their eyes were swollen shut and bruised
Right.
for a very long time. And then at the end of December, I broke my nose, and I had 2 black eyes at the beginning, and then the side I had the most damage on, my left side, I had a black eye for almost 2 months.
Yeah. Okay, so why do you think she took the last part down? Because she didn't get away. I think she was okay. That's what I was trying to start with. All right, so let me go back to that. All right. Yeah, it didn't change your looks that much. I agree. I don't think so. Just trying to sit so I don't look ridiculous. Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Okay, guys. So here's what I think. I think the original plan was to set Nick up. I think Dan could or could not be involved in that. There is reasonable doubt, okay, on all of it. There is, but what we do know, okay, is 2 days before it was supposed to go down, supposedly, according to the text messages, Gypsy gets thrown out. So according to her, she says that to Stan too, right? I think there's a lot more to that story. But I think the day of, I think her idea of being in the bathroom, I think the idea of her being locked in the bathroom, which Stan calls her on, hello, bathroom looks from the inside, dum-dum, you know, like, I think she was going to do that, send him in there to do what he was supposed to do, whether you believe he did the deed and unalived her, whether you think that she was already dead or not is irrelevant. I think she was going to come out. I think she was going to go with Dan. I think she was going to move her on her happy own little ass to Arkansas. And I'm wondering if she hadn't already been there, because there's that strange freaking Arkansas freaking name change that's suspicious as F. Okay, but I don't want to get sidetracked. But so I think that was the original idea. I think that's how we have those tracks in the front. And I do think they could be from a dually, but I also think they may not be. There's you could make a case for both. So, you know, so right, she has no bus ticket for herself. Okay, no bus ticket. Thank you. I made my earrings, and we will be having them available on the Good Wives Network. I've got lots of cute ones coming. Okay, I've designed them, and they're adorable, and I love them all. Anyway, okay, so no bus ticket for herself, right? Okay. Nick has to be rushed there, right? He's got to be rushed. She rushes him there. So I think that there's evidence to prove that Dee Dee could have already been unalived. Okay. I also believe that there is evidence that she could have been dying a little bit. So I think the plan goes awry for whatever freaking reason. And she ends up going like Dee Dee told her to do. Go with Nick to Wisconsin. At least you'll be happy. And she thinks she said that out of love. I absolutely think she told her that. Fine, just go with Nick. Don't be with this damn guy. He's 35. He does drugs. He's married. He's got kids. Oh, thank you about my kitty cat. That's Perseus. He has one eye missing. So he was born like that. Poor baby. We rescued them. But, you know, go with the weird kid, because we found out that Nick liked her, and there's an article that says that she was bragging about him all over the place. We didn't think Munchausen by proxy until Christy hits the scene and takes the one piece that they already had from the fraud investigation and floats a fucking new whole story. So I think when she went with Nick, I think she's still in contact with Dan. She admits it. Right, Sarah?
Yes, ma'am.
And then I think what her next thought process is okay, I'm gonna send this last text message. I'm gonna gather all my shit because this ain't what I signed up for. This wrestling baby bedroom above my I want a man. And she was gonna take off.
I gotta make a comment about that wrestling thing because she says, first thing that just completely turns her off and sets her off is the wrestling comforter that is
I don't
on
either.
Nick's
I do not
bed,
either, Mom. I do not.
making him appear childlike. And then we just see Ryan. Ryan just posted his first comment video, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm a WrestleMania nerd. I'm a wrestle fan. I'm over here at my friend's house watching this wrestling." And I thought,
Grifting by proxy,
goodness.
grifting in training. Yes, keep going, Sarah.
I thought, he doesn't ever put on a freaking wrestling cover. He's done.
Oh my God, that's what I'm saying. It's just, she's so slimy. And it's so obvious now, and it makes me feel so stupid. But I think she was on her way out the door. I mean, seriously, and was like, peace out, dude. I'm out of here. I think it might be why she even thought to, she's like you said, she sets him up, and Stan gave it to her. That's the one thing I got upset with Stan about was him giving her that alibi. Did Nick and your mom not get along? Did he do something to you? Did you try to get the knife out of his hand? And I'm like, damn it, Stan, shut the hell up. Like, let her.
Yes, I mean, he fed her hook line. I mean, he was just baiting her,
Yeah.
Just the fact that, the one thing people just never did.
Keep tapping, guys.
One thing people need to catch up on is never once, ever
Thank you.
does she ever use the word abuse.
Never. It's always control. And Dr. Erica Steele, who has been working with us for the documentary on this chromosome disorder, I'm so proud of Colleen with this chromosome disorder. Ooh, so proud of her. But no, said that is an extreme red flag, and the chromosome disorder changes so much. It changes this so stinking much because it just, wow. The abuse is just, what would it have happened if he had let her continue to talk? Exactly, outlandish history. I wish he would have let her talk a little more. I understood what he was trying to do. He didn't want to buy into her nonsense, but I would have liked to hear her talk more in that moment where she's scrambling, because you can tell she's reaching because she keeps asking him things. And I think she was confused about something that went down that night. You know what I mean? Colleen is wicked smart. Thank you, Amy Mackey. She is. That's my bitch. And I love me some Colleen. Man, she is wicked smart.
I know people are so frustrated when she was actually lying, to the detective.
All a distraction.
And everything. But I'm going to tell you what, if you watch the whole 4+ hours, the part that got me was the 2.5 hours that she spent talking to the deputy that was positioned outside her door, bragging about all of the trips and VIP treatment that she had received and all of these special celebrity status things.
The 2 times on the millionaire's yacht?
Right. And then he's talking about that part. Really, a lot of people haven't seen it, but if you watch that, I mean, she even talks about dancing up and down the streets at, like Disney World or Orlando, one of the amusement parks after dark with her VIP. She never says, like, I'm on a sugar high rolling around. She says, I'm on a sugar high dancing around. And, she received the things that she received in her life would be things, the experiences she received would be things
Thank
that
you.
a child could only dream of.
So we need to timeline in it all. Love Shack, Sarah, what do you mean by a timeline so I can get that for you? Because I have a lot of different pieces of this timelined out, but if you need something specific, just tell me exactly in the chat what it is you're looking for. And Cindy Hobbs, thank you so much. She says a version of her chromosome disorder runs in my family. So Cindy's talking about the fact that that chromosome disorder runs in her family too.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I believe that, she used Nick to get to Dan, and she used Ryan to get to Ken, and
Yeah.
she's just going to keep using and using.
Patterns.
Or gone girl.
Yeah, keep going because we keep getting sidetracked. But we've got a lot to talk about. But this is why we're talking about it, because the kidnapping is relevant to this. So do I think she just watched Gone Girl and was like, okay, that's what I'm gonna do? No. But she was heavily influenced, and we even see that in her own naming of her personas are all like that, right? She says, Outlandish History says Gypsy was hella comfortable speaking to a law enforcement officer after unaliving her mama that says everything we need to know about Gypsy. Exactly. Okay.
Oh, and she also threw Nick under the bus three different times. For having this conversation with this deputy. Like, she says, I'm arrested, but my boyfriend's been arrested. And then she says,
right.
Oh, and he got arrested last year for watching pornography in a McDonald's.
Yes.
He got an earful from me on that. I just really hope he hasn't messed up and done something else again.
Yeah, exactly. She never cried once. But and Krusky, I believe she dated Ken in 2017, and 2018 is when they called it off. They called it off before I did the podcast, I think. So the podcast is 2019. So probably.
And also, guys, nobody seems to know anything about Brian. She had another serious relationship.
Brian. Oh yeah. I know about Brian. There's a story there.
Yeah, nobody knows about Brian, but I've seen the pictures of them together in the visitor room together. And this was the one she got with Dr. Ken prior to
Jeff. Oh yes, Jeff is there as well. Brian, good old Brian, is going around spreading some rumor about the Playboy Mansion calling for her. Titania and I are talking about that's a crazy rumor we've now heard going around. 2 days later, I freaking get a letter from Gypsy saying, hey, darling, I appreciate that, but no, the Playboy Mansion hasn't called me, but not at the mention for my big old boobs and my, like, what? No, that's not what I said, you idiot. But she felt the need to send me that little one. And I was like, oh, for the love of God. And it shows how much they watch everything I do. Like I'm talking about something someone else said. Not, it was so funny. And we were just like, what? What a weird message. And it was just so narcissistic. Oh, narcissistic.
If we get back to I'm going to start back at the beginning of Gone Girl and just give you guys some similarities.
Yes.
Okay, so there's probably a good chance she read the book. I mean, she was an avid reader as well.
Right.
But the movie starring Rosamund Pike, whose character's name is Amy, and Ben Affleck, whose character's name is Nick, takes place in Missouri. Amy was a rich celebrity from childhood. Her mother wrote a series called Amazing Amy that was supposed to be about her childhood, and it was completely embellished. We start off the movie with the neighbor calling because he's concerned that their cat is outside. And as we know, Gypsy let the family's cats outside and abandoned them when she took off with Nick. There is the correlation with the anniversary and events. And Amy's entire childhood is fake. She has issues with her parents who are narcissistic. The crime scene does not add up. There was press conferences called in both this movie Gone Girl, the book, and as well as with Gypsy. Nick is concerned in the movie, the area that they live at in Missouri, because there is a lot of crimes going on within the homeless community. And as we know, in Springfield, Missouri, there's a lot of issues with the burglaries and the drug rings and definitely the pills. And we know that Dan was a part of that. Also, it says that Amy really does not have any close friends, and she is from out of town. And we have the issues that Nick has with his father, who is suffering from dementia. So that plays into the actual Nick Godejohn having some issues with his father and mental stability. The journals that are written that we both find to be fake. Amy wants to change Nick's appearance and basically, micromanage him and stage handle him. And we see that Gypsy did that to Nicholas, as far as even sending him the outfit shirt that he should wear on the day that he meets her mother, the Cinderella event. There's also a secret relationship going on in the movie. Nick, who is Ben Affleck's character, is having an affair with one of his students. He is a teacher, a writing instructor. We have the secret affair going on between Dan and Gypsy. Dan is 20 years older than Gypsy, married with 2 kids. Now they talk, as you saw in that clip, about the nosy neighbors that really don't know what's going on. And we see that comparison to Kim and David Blanchard. She sets Nick up with the items that are in the shed just the same way that we see Gypsy set Nicholas up in real life by mailing the gloves and the murder weapon to his home. We also have there is a little bit of a comparison here between the sheds. Margot had the wood shed, and we know that Gypsy had 3 sheds on her property, one of which it was painted like you would see a daycare or a, even more than like a toddler's room. And it's very clean. It has carpeting in it. There are props in there, and there's also a toddler bed, which is where we believe that there's a very good possibility she was doing webcamming for the Littles community, because as Dan testified, this was something that she was into as far as the BD sexual element there. She tried to say that Nick introduced that to her, and he didn't. She actually introduced it to Dan. Then we see that Gypsy also contacted Nick's former girlfriends. I don't know if you guys were aware of that, and they had some negative things to say, and she just chalked that up to the fact that they were jealous. Then we see in the movie Amy, she set up previous boyfriends. She has a boyfriend named Desi, who is played by Neil Patrick Harris, and he supposedly stalked her. She had to get a restraining order against him. And then another boyfriend, she just didn't like the way that she could not control him. So she set him up for like first assault, rape charges, and ruined his life. So we see in the movie that
Difficulties.
the character Amy, she resets the alarm at Nick's father's home so that when he goes there, it will set off the police who will show up. And when they show up, she's hoping that they will go through the house and find the journal that she had lied in, that she has slightly burned a little bit in the furnace. And we can kind of see the same thing happened in Gypsy's case with her changing the thermostat temperature. One thing
Hold on.
I'm
I'm
funny
sorry.
was that she also talks about Nick's father and the little blue house. And it wasn't blue. It was brown. I'm
Sarah,
sorry.
hold on a
You
second.
said the little brown house.
Sarah, hang on a second. Hey guys, my computer is about to die and I can't seem to get it to charge. I'm going to keep trying, but if I don't, you can meet us over on TikTok at Spicy Red 92 because I can keep this going much longer. Okie doke. So if I all of a sudden just pop off over here on YouTube, please find us over there while I try to do this. Hey, Anchor Faye, thank you. So
Is your charger still shorting?
yeah, it's still shorting. I mean, I'm going to need a new computer soon. I just